Master of Ceremonies, His Excellency, the Deputy President of the Republic of South Africa, Paul Mashatile, Presiding Bishop of the Evangelical Lutheran Church in South Africa, Bishop Nkosinathi Mnyaka, Presiding Deputy Bishop of the Evangelist Lutheran Church in Southern Africa, Bishop Naletsani Sikwari, Deputy President of the ELCSA General Assembly, Mr. Sadani Kobo, ELCSA Acting General Secretary, Mr. Ashmi Joseph, Representative of ELCSA Prayer Women's League, Prayer Men's League, Young Adults League, and Youth League here present, distinguished guests, dear brothers and sisters in Jesus Christ. May the grace, peace, blessings, and the boundless light, love, and life be with you all. Thank you for the opportunity to say a few words and to introduce our guest speaker, the Deputy President of the Republic of South Africa, His Excellency Mr. Paul Mashatile. Our Deputy President is no stranger to the religious sector in South Africa, as he has been working with many of yourselves through the Presidential Interfaith Working Group. Let's start by congratulating you, Bishop Manyaka, the entire leadership of the congregation of the Evangelical Lutheran Church in South Africa, on the occasion of the pleasant celebration of this Golden Jubilee. I take this opportunity to express my appreciation for the missionary legacy of this church and its unwavering commitment to the well-being and welfare of the people of our country. This Golden Jubilee is a good occasion to evaluate the contribution of this church to addressing some of the pressing national challenges confronting our nation. And I'm pleased that ELCSA Vision 2030, which Bishop Mnyaka presented earlier on 6/2, do exactly that. My brothers and sisters, what this church has achieved in the past 50 years is more than history. It is a call for our commitment to carry the torch and continue the race. We must continue to hold the torch of hope, love, and peace, to create a greater impact in our society. This Golden Jubilee celebration must become a watershed that the Evangelical Church, Lutheran Church in Southern Africa could ride the coming 50 years with glory and grace. My dear brothers and sisters, this Golden Jubilee is also an occasion to remember all those great leaders who emerged from this great church and contributed immensely to the nation building and social justice in South Africa. The names of Bishop Dr. Manas Buthelezi and Bishop Emeritus Pashwana, both of whom came through the ranks of this great church, are synonymous with our struggle for freedom and democracy. I thought you were going to give yourself a round of applause. And on this pleasant occasion, we applaud this generation of fearless religious leaders who defied the apartheid regime and mobilized many of our people to join the struggle on the side of the oppressed. We salute them for practicing a theology that accepted that an oppressed people could never be spiritually free. With these few words, brothers and sisters, allow me to introduce our guest speaker this evening, the Deputy President of the Republic of South Africa, His Excellency Mr. Paul Mashatile. To you, Deputy President, we are grateful for your untiring leadership of government, ongoing engagement with the interfaith sector. We are grateful and honored that you have made time in your busy schedule to celebrate this special occasion with us here this evening. Thank you for honoring this special occasion with your presence here tonight. Ladies and gentlemen, the leadership of the church, I now invite Your Excellency, the Deputy President of the Republic, Mr. Paul Mashatile, to come and address this special celebration. And ladies and gentlemen, let us welcome our Honorable and Excellent Deputy President with a warm round of applause. Thank you very much.
Please be seated. I was very conscious about what I'm going to do first when I come up the stage, because I was speaking at the funeral this morning and former President Beki was there. So as they called me to come and speak, everybody rose. But they were told that they must never sit until I say so. So there I come, I open my iPad, and I realize, hey, former president is still standing. So I said, please be seated. So I must remember that to tell people to be seated before I look at my speech. Dr. Mure, good evening to you, our good program director. I like your jacket, it's very nice. When I arrived here this evening, there were ministers who were waiting for me. One of them obviously was Minister Tolashe, and then there was Minister Mackenzie. Minister Chikunga had not arrived at the time, so I said, oh, so Minister Mackenzie, you also attend church? He says, yes, Deputy President, you invited me. So I said to Minister Tolash, okay, we need to make this one to repent. So that was quite good seeing them here. But let me start by greeting our hosts, Premier of the Northwest Province, Mr. Lazarus Kagiso Mukhoshi, who's with us this evening, our Executive Mayor of this beautiful city, Meshila Mabalahuma. Thank you very much for receiving us in your town, in your province. You know, there's something about our Executive Mayor here. Every time I come to Rustenburg, they take her office away from her and make it mine. So I was saying to her, you know, I was here on Monday and I'll chase you out of your office. And she says, no, don't worry, this is home now. So thank you, Mayor, for that hospitality. Greetings to our ministers. They've already been introduced. Minister of Sports, Arts and Culture, Minister Gayton McKenzie, Minister of Social Development, who was here to introduce me, Nokzola Sisi Tolashe, Minister in the Presidency for Women, Youth and People with Disabilities, Mesindiswa Chikunga. I now want to greet the leaders of the church, the Evangelical Lutheran Church of in Southern Africa, the church leader, our presiding bishop, Kosinati Miaga and Umama Wetu Bishop Miaga. Greetings to all the bishops and reverends who are here. Now, I would have normally wanted to mention all of them, but when they sent me a list, I realized that the esteemed bishops in this evening and the reverends are more than 20, if I'm correct. So I said to my speechwriters, that will take all the time of my speaking. So my trick this evening is that when I finish speaking, Dr. More will introduce all of them so that we know who is here. Very interesting long list, but as a program director, he can do it even whilst we eat. He can eat later. Let me greet all of you, brothers and sisters. Good evening to all of you. Esteemed Bishop, I wish to convey my sincere appreciation for your kind invitation to partake in this occasion, commemorating 50 years and the Golden Jubilee of Evangelical Lutheran Church in Southern Africa. This institution stands on the shoulders of giants, rooted in the Reformation led by Martin Luther, a courageous German monk who challenged corruption and exposed the sale of indulgences. His vision sparked a movement that significantly impacted history, and today we see its fruits flourishing in Southern Africa. In fact, when I was sitting with the Bishop earlier on, he told me that we're actually talking about 500 years of history, which is really remarkable. I think we must give this a big round of applause. Even Minister Mackenzie was so impressed. He says, 500 years and you're still existing. This is really remarkable. As a believer myself, I join you in the spirit of Jubilee to proclaim that the Lord has brought you this far and will continue to hold your hand in the future. Just a bit of context of what I've learned about the Golden Jubilee, outlined in Leviticus chapter 25. It was a sacred period designated for the Israelites, occurring every 50th year. This revered time was fundamentally about restitution, liberation, thus reinforcing social justice and community well-being. Basically, as I went through it, it said it was about freedom from slavery, liberation from oppression, debt cancellation for the bankrupt, and lastly, return of the land to their rightful owners. Now, these are very noble ideas that all of you will agree are still relevant today in most parts of the world, including here in our own country. And of these, land restoration speaks profoundly to the current status of land reform that we are busy with in South Africa. Now, when the president appointed me as his deputy in 2024, or initially before this election, when he appointed me for the first time, he said, I'm going to give you responsibilities as Deputy President, which you will perform and report to me. And one of the responsibilities he gave me was, please ensure that we accelerate land reform. It's one of the ones they included in amongst many of those responsibilities. But another one I'm sure you will be happy about, he said, I want you to work with the churches. Nice one. So you can see I'm not here by chance. The president wants me here. But the good thing, as I said, that when I accepted these responsibilities, I understood them, particularly because I grew up in a religious family. And when I was young, my father made me teach Sunday school. My father was a bishop, so he made me teach Sunday school. So I'm not sure if the president was aware of that. I'm sure he must have read my biography. So I used to teach Sunday school, and so it goes. So I've learned to not only teach Sunday school, but at some point, when my father left the NG Kerk and went to join other priests, they started their own church. They then called me to be the secretary of the church. So I used to sit with these old men and listening to them and writing, taking minutes for them. So it is a good thing when the president said, I want you to work with the churches, because I always believe that it doesn't matter which church you go to, there's only one God. So every time I visit churches, I would tell them this story, and I'll say to them, I go to the Methodist church, but if I'm with the Lutheran, I'm home as well. So that's my belief. But coming back to the issue of land, which I was told I must speak a bit about, land is more than just an economic asset. It is central to social, cultural, but also to individual identity. People identify with where they live. It is also a vital natural resource and a foundation for human security and livelihoods. Its fair distribution is essential for dignity, for stability, and shared prosperity. So one of the things the president has asked me was, let us ensure that people have access to land, to farm, to build their homes, to build their churches, to build their businesses. And that's what we are busy with. I'm not working alone on this. There is a minister responsible for land reform and another minister for agriculture, so I work very closely with them to do this job. We know that in South Africa, black people were confined to a very little percentage of land. In 1913 to about 13% of land, which is something that we are busy correcting. The president calls it the original sin. So he says we must deal with the original sin. When land was forcefully taken from their rightful owners. Let me quote what President Mandela said about it. Dealing with the issue of land reforms, President Mandela had this to say: "With freedom and democracy came restoration of the right to land." And then he went further to say, "At last we can look our ancestors in the face and say, your sacrifices were not in vain." That was in 1994. So this is the promise that has guided our work and all our efforts to date as we deal with the issue of land, ensuring that there's opportunity for all and not exclusion. There are laws that we have passed that will help us deal with this situation that we are busy implementing. The good thing is that in doing this job, I've also found that some of the farmers, especially the white farmers who own vast tracts of lands, some of them would say to me, "Look, we've got vast land, tracts of land, we are willing to give some away for government to settle other people, get new farmers." They even partner with emerging farmers to work together to improve the farming of the land and ensuring food security for all. So it's such a good thing. It's not become a negative thing, engaging with the farmers. I find that there are a lot of farmers out there who are saying, let's work together. So when you hear someone says white people are being killed in South Africa, you must know it's a lie. There's no such a thing. We work together. Nobody's land is forcefully taken away. We engage, we negotiate. There are instances where government, everywhere in the world, will need land for public good. Want to build a railway line, a freeway, and so on. In those instances, government will expropriate land and will compensate those that own the land. Sometimes there are absentee landlords who have abandoned the land. They don't have to be compensated if we can't find them. So land reform in South Africa is being managed properly, and there are no challenges at all. Now, fellow congregants, I want to just deal with one or two other issues before I conclude, just to say that while the issue of land is very important, we are also dealing with challenges of crime and corruption, but also violent crimes that we see in many of our communities. We are strengthening law enforcement agencies, but also a bigger focus on gender-based violence. In fact, Minister Chikunga works a lot with me on that, to deal with gender-based violence everywhere throughout the country. I want to congratulate the church for having worked with us all these years. I was saying to Bishop earlier on as we were chatting before we came in here that as a young man in the struggle for liberation, I always went to the churches for help. And I mentioned to him Bishop Desmond Tutu, Father Smangali Somkachwa, Reverend Frank Chikani. And At the time in the 1980s, I was the president of the Alexander Youth Congress, and we needed money to put posters and buy t-shirts, and I'll go to the church leaders to ask for 100 rands. It was a lot of money at the time. And not at any one time did those bishops and priests said no. They encouraged us. In fact, some of the church leaders were targeted by the apartheid government. If you recall, Reverend French Chikani was poisoned. And many of them, their churches attacked and so on, but they never gave up. So thank you to the church today. We are where we are because of you. Now, the Lutheran Church in Southern Africa, as we all know, stood firm in proclaiming the gospel of liberation, affirming that all races are created in God's image, equal and worthy of dignity. Bishop Ndanganeni Paswana categorized apartheid as blasphemous because it went against Revelation 13, while it was conveniently positioned as God ordained by others. Now, let me say, as I go towards the conclusion, that when fear silenced many, the church spoke boldly against racial segregation and inequality, calling for justice and reconciliation. Archbishop Desmond Tutu, amongst others, a towering ecumenical voice, declared the following, and he said, "We don't want apartheid liberalized. We want it dismantled. You can't improve something that is intrinsically evil. And you won't if you are neutral in situations of injustice. You have chosen the side of the oppressor." That was Archbishop Desmond Tutu. So thank you to ELCSA. You stood boldly, choosing courage over neutrality and offering unwavering spiritual strength to those in struggle. As democracy dawned in our country, the church became a beacon of forgiveness, compassion, and unity, helping to heal a divided nation and championing the truth and reconciliation. Without this spiritual dimension, our democracy would have lacked the soul that binds us together today. So thank you very much. I would like you to continue to work with our communities. I will be working with you myself. But I want to say, as we celebrate this Jubilee year, let us recommit to justice and reconciliation, working together for a future where all enjoy the fruits of the land, guided by love, compassion, and solidarity. And I'm sure we can restore hope. May this gala dinner inspire reflection, unity, and renewed commitment to the values that defined us as a church and as a nation together. Let us continue to pursue justice and equality for all, sustained by God's grace and the teachings of our faith. I want to end by saying, they say in Zulu, igama lenkosi malibongwe. Lebitso la Modimo ga le roriswe. Re a leboga.
It's an honor. Thank you. Wow.